You know, most of us hope we never have a need for an orthopedic specialist, but with our active lifestyles, our longer lifespans, chances are we will. And thankfully, there is a team here in Central Ohio with more than 150 years of combined orthopedic experience. And they have one goal, and it is to get you back to living pain-free. So here to share more in this sponsored segment, we have Dr. Keith Berend with JIS Orthopedics. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
All right, so the scope of what you can treat really is extensive. So I want you to talk about JIS, what you specialize in there at that office.
Sure. So JIS Orthopedics was founded in 1972 as joint implant surgeons, and our background has predominantly been in hip and knee replacement. And then over the last 10 to 15 to 20 years now, we've expanded and become JIS Orthopedics, where we can care for nearly any musculoskeletal condition, from the hand to the neck to the back to the hip to the shoulder to the knee and further on down. And so comprehensive orthopedic care throughout Central Ohio.
And you yourself, I understand, focus in hip and knee specifically, right? And that's important, I think, to know when people look for a provider, because there is a lot to an orthopedic kind of study, right?
Sure. So I'm a hip and knee replacement specialist.
Okay.
Each one of the members in our practice at JIS Orthopedics is fellowship trained, meaning they've done an extra year at least of training in that specific body part, as it were, whether it's shoulder, elbow, hand, in my case hip and knee, spine, neck, etc. So we believe that specialization really helps to provide the patient with the best level of care.
Yeah, and I know doctors don't like to brag on themselves, so I'm going to do it for you, Dr. Berend, okay? You're a member of the Knee Society, the Hip Society, named one of the top 22 knee surgeons in North America 2 years in a row. So you clearly have this skill, but talk about the passion. Why is it that this was the field you chose? I feel like people want to know a little bit behind it, right? Why was this so important to you?
So briefly, my grandfather was a pediatrician here in town. He's an old-timey pediatrician as I was growing up here in Columbus. So medical background. My father was in distribution warehousing, but built an airplane in our garage when I was growing up. And so literally welding, tools, saws, hammers, nails, ended up doing that for a living.
I love that. Okay, so what are some of the most common conditions then you would say you see at JIS? Because there are things a lot of people suffer from.
Yeah, so I think in general, musculoskeletal conditions is what we specialize in, and then we'll help to sort of triage your condition to the appropriate specialist within our practice. Whether that's knee pain, whether that's an athletic-related injury, whether it's a chronic back condition, it's really any musculoskeletal complaint. Any complaint within the body that has to do with the joints or the back is something that we can certainly take care of.
And the treatments that you offer, I know there are a few that are less invasive, right? And you have patients, I have no doubt, that come in seeking that first, right?
Sure. So there's invasiveness of the procedure themselves, of the surgical procedure, but there's also non-surgical alternatives or non-surgical treatments for musculoskeletal pain, injections, physical therapy, other types of treatments that don't require surgery to improve patients' quality of life. And then ultimately the surgeries are performed, and we have specialized for decades in minimally invasive procedures such as anterior hip surgery or partial knee replacement, minimally invasive spine surgery, to be able to do those procedures with the best outcomes, the fastest recovery, and importantly the least amount of complications because of the minimally invasive techniques.
Yeah, and I imagine when you say fast recovery, right, that is the goal, to get these people back to living life. And really, a lot of people who struggle with any kind of pain like this are just living, not really enjoying. So what are some of the reactions that you get from patients who've suffered for too long?
So suffered for too long is a great way to put it. The number one complaint from a patient with a successful hip or knee replacement or shoulder replacement or spine surgery is, I wish I had not waited so long.
Yeah.
Because there are these procedures that make such a dramatic improvement in quality of life that are obtainable, and certainly within Central Ohio at JIS Orthopedics. And so by far and away, the number one complaint is, I wish I hadn't waited so long.
Yeah, and I feel like as you have been in this field especially, you know things have come a long way. Sometimes people think everything is going to be so invasive and such a struggle to recover from, they avoid it altogether, right?
And that's a huge part of it. Is I heard when my mom or my grandma had these procedures how long and drawn out it was. Overwhelming majority of the procedures that we're talking about with joint replacement are done as an outpatient, in the morning, home in the afternoon, in the comfort of your own home safely. Recoveries measured in terms of weeks instead of months. A lot of it is to do with the technology and the techniques that we've really pioneered at JIS Orthopedics.
Well, then let us know where you're at, where people need to go.
So jisorthopedics.com would be our website. Our home base is in New Albany at the Medical Center in New Albany, and then we have a satellite clinic in St. Clairsville out by Wheeling. But certainly easy to get a hold of on the web and get an appointment and come and see us if you have trouble with any of your joints or anything, injury or whatnot.
Okay, sounds perfect. jisortho.com. Thank you so much, doctor.
Thank you.